Hello and welcome back to the making of the Chapel of Zenith. Today I'm going to be making the statue of Zenith himself. So I'm just going to go ahead and bring this in here. Now 32 is going to be too many, so I'm going to put that down to about 12. Just so we've got a nice sort of almost even number. I'm going to bring that up. And I'm going to slide that into roughly the middle. Doesn't have to be exact, but just so I can get it where I want it. So with the edges selected, I'm going to extrude downwards in the Z-axis. That just gives it a little bit of a base. And around the top, what I'm going to do is I'm going to press E and then S and extrude it out just a little. Then coming back to the front viewport, I'm going to do E and Z to bring it up to about here. And I'm going to bring that in just to about there as well. And in the next one, I'm going to bring just up, just to where the edge of the sleeves are. And I'm going to bring that in as well, just a little. So I should extrude that again. Just to the top of the sleeves. And then to the top of the shoulders. Press ES again, and I'm going to bring that in just a little. Come to the front mode. I'm going to press E again to extrude up. So I'm going to go to about a quarter of the way. And then I'm going to go the rest of the way by coming up to here. And I'm going to bring that in. And I'm going to bring that one in as well. Just a little. So for the top part here, what I need to do is if I come up to the top here, I'm going to select these vertices here and press F to make a face. I'm going to select these and do the same. I'm going to continue that and then come back and show you what I'm going to do next. Okay, now with those that all complete, I want to take the vertices and I want to kind of connect them a little bit. So I'm going to go for these two here. So these two vertices, I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to press J just to get them to join down the middle. Then with the line tool, with the edge selected, just going to bring that up just a little. Select these two vertices, and I'm just going to bring those back down, back where they were. So that just gives it a little bit of a, not quite a pointed hood, but almost a pointed hood. Because I don't want it too pointed. So that looks about right. So I'm going to bring that up a little bit. And I'm going to add in another line just here. And I'm going to bring that out just a little bit. Just so it gives it that kind of blocked out shape. So what I'm going to do now is in the wireframe mode, I'm going to select 1/2 of the model. I'm just going to make sure that it is 1/2 of the model that I'm selecting. Press delete. And I'm going to add a mirror modifier. give that a quick check, make sure I haven't. So I probably don't want that. I probably do want clipping. So just to give it turn off merge completely, turn off clipping. Not quite worked very well. What I will do then, in that case, I'm going to set the origin to 3D cursor. I'm going to come here and then I'm going to put the mirror modifier on. It's kind of gone wrong up the top there a little bit, but I'm not too worried about that. I can always come back and fix that later. The main point is that I can come into face mode and I can select those two. So these is going to become the shoulder. So what I'm going to do is with this I'm going to just select that corner and bring that down just so slightly, and I'm going to bring those two up and start shaping this out a little better. So I'll bring these in, bring these into. And I'm going to fix this as we're going. So I'm going to bring these kind of into the center. Again, I will weld these once I've gotten to that point where I'm happy with it. But for now, that's looking okay. A few more. I don't want to overdo it, you see. But I will go ahead and I'll just go down each one and weld them once I'm there. So I can now come to these two. So these two vertices probably need to come down as well, just to give it that sort of rounded feel to it. And that vertex as well, that needs to come down. It's almost like it's a rounded, almost like a rounded sort of sleeve kind of shape. So we have this more or less the right shape. So I'm now going to go into face select and select these two faces. Now they don't need to come out that much looking at it. So if I just extrude that out to about here, roughly, then I can go ahead and I can start bringing that down and in. It's kind of just like the top of the shoulder, and that can come in as well. As you can see, it's starting to come along now. And I want to select the bottom of these. And now I'm going to extrude that. So that comes down to about here. I'm going to bring that across. And then I'm just going to go ahead and bring that in and fix the geometry. So it just keeps it close to the body, which is what I want. So that's going to be way too high. So what I may have to do, which is these two vertices, so here and here, let's see if I can bring those down. So I'm going to bring those down, so one here and one here. Just so that brings it in line with that kind of shape. And I'm going to bring these out just a little bit as well. So I can bring this here, and so these two faces, these are going to be extruded, and once they are, I'm going to bring them out just a little bit, bring them over and down. So these are going to become the sleeves. Just going to come into top view and bring those out just a little bit. Going to rotate those. Just so I can get the shape really. So I'm going to bring that out again. And then in top, I'm just going to bring those there, and I'm going to make those more or less completely level. So just bring that to there. Bring that out just a little bit. So as you can see, it's kind of becoming this sleeve. Now the bottom, those two will need to come down there, and that needs to come down as well. And again, I think that needs to come down. And it's just playing around with it until I'm happy with the shape. So I'm going to bring that in just a little bit there. Bring that in just a little bit. Just so it gives you that kind of shape almost. Now with these, I am going to bring that out just a little, because this is the main part of the sleeve, so I'm going to bring that out just a little bit. And then I'm going to come in and select the two faces again, and I'm going to extrude them one more time and bring them almost touching. And that kind of gives me that sort of shape there. So I'm just going to go ahead and bring out what needs bringing out. Just like so. Bring the things in that need bringing in. So it gives it that kind of, that sort of shape. Now I do want to bring that out just a little. I think that is in a little bit too much. And I'm going to do the same for that as well. So I'll bring that out just a little. Just so it gives it that sort of bit here, and I believe that needs to come down just a little bit, so I'm just going to bring that down. Just so it gives it that kind of rough shape there. Now I'm going to bring those down too, as well as that. Well, that's looking good. Gonna bring that back again, because this is the chest part, so I don't want it sticking out too much. So there's the chest, and it kind of goes in then. That's looking better. Okay, so back to the wireframe mode. This is just checking, just to see if we can, see if there's anything a bit ski with. But it's looking okay. What I do want to do is work on the hood a little bit more. So I'm probably going to add in another line. Then what I'm going to do with that line is just fill it out. So for these vertices, I'm just going to bring those out just a little. Just so I'm getting that the shape of the actual hood. Bring those in just a little bit. That can come up to the top of the shoulder. And it just brings the right sort of shape. Now I think that is a bit too high, so I'm going to bring that down a little bit. Now what I want to do is I'm going to apply that modifier and have a look at my statue. And then anywhere that needs welding, I'm just going to merge at the center. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that and then come back to you. Now that I've gone ahead and done that, I'm just going to play with these sleeves a little bit more. So I'm just going to bring that out now as well. I do want to bring them out a little bit more, these sleeves, not by much, just by a little bit, just bring them out a little bit, just to make them look a bit more fuller than they are now. And that's starting to look really good now. So what I want to do to create the inside of the hood, I'm going to need to do something very special. So I'm going to come to the wireframe mode and I'm going to just come into the front viewport. So with these, I'm going to select these parts here. So I think it needs to be so it needs to come to about here. And then it needs two. And those ones as well. So it kind of just comes back like this. Go ahead and get rid of those faces. And that gives us that very strange looking bit there. So I'm going to select all that, ES, bring it in. Then this come right the way in, and I'm going to bring that right the way back. Just so it kind of becomes like the inner hood. And with those parts, bring those back as well. So it doesn't need to be out a lot. And for the top part, I am going to bring these forward a little bit. Just so I can bring and get the actual sort of shape of the hood. So I'm kind of going for the kind of shape. So I want to bring this up. Kind of just give me that inner shape. Like so. Just bring these in. Just make sure that it's not too thick or anything. Bring that back as well. There's sort of that kind of shape. But I will bring those out because I think they don't look right to me. So I'm going to bring those out again. Probably to about there. Bring that out as well. just so it gives me that sort of internal shape. That's looking pretty cool. I'm going to again select the inside of it, do another ES, bring it in, bring it back, and then press F to fill it in. And that'll be sort of the hood almost done. Now it does kind of come back as almost a point, but I think that's looking good anyway. So I'm not going to do too much to that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to select around this part here. And I'm going to extrude that out. Just by a little. And I'm going to make it quite thin. And then bring them down. This is the kind of the habit almost. I'm going to bring that just in line. And that does need to be connected. So if I get rid of the faces of that, select that edge and that edge. Yeah, it's not going to work. Right, I need to, if I go into top view, just going to extrude them. So I'll bring this. I'm just going to follow the contours more or less. It just comes down really, so it's not going to be that thick. I'm going to bring it down even more, to about there. There should be a bridge, but right click, bridge faces, there we are. So there's right click and then bridge faces. And then I'm going to bring that out just a little bit like so, bring that down, out a little bit more. And for the back, I am going to bring in these, because these vertices for some reason have gone a bit haywire. So I'm going to bring them down and I'm going to bring them in. Just like so. Then what I can do is if I shift select, I want it. Okay, I just go and select them manually. So I want to come all the way around for the underneath. So I'm going to get rid of those faces. And then with the edge select, I'm going to go around the edge. Then I'm going to extrude it downwards. I'm going to bring it out. And that can come forward a little bit, so that can come forward. That's looking okay, so I'm going to bring that to about there. There we are, so that's looking good. I'm going to press E and S again, and I'm going to extrude it again. And this is the final extrude, and that can just rest over there. to bring that in. And bring these both in actually. So bring them in. Bring that down again. Bring it right down. And then this ring can be modified just slightly. Just bring it out a little bit. I'm just going to get the vertices and I'm just going to bring them where they need to be. Tidy up just a little bit. Just so this this part comes in. So just bringing it all in. Making sure that I've got it correct. So I'm just going to bring these and just line things up really. One final thing around here, E and an S, and I'm going to come in. I'm going to come right the way in. So that kind of seals it off in on the inside. So let's get rid of this reference image, put it to the side, and just see how our statue looks at the moment. So we're looking quite good. I am going to put a smooth on this in a bit. So let's do that now actually. So let's go here and go shade smooth. That's looking pretty good. Hood's a little bit messy, but I think if we do the auto smooth, I think we can. Just going to bring that to about 90 degrees. I think 90 looks good. Yeah, 90 looks pretty good for that. Doesn't need too much detail. I'm thinking that's looking pretty good so far. So what I want to do now is if I come into this and I'm going to make the actual altar part now. So this is what the statue is going to stand on. So if I move that up to where it is, where it's going to be, it's about there. Come into edit mode and I'm going to see. I don't want it too high. I'm going to have about that much clearance off the ground, and I'm going to make it into like more of a rectangle. So kind of like that. Now what I want to do is if I select, I'm going to select all 4 of these edges first. So I'm going to do those and I'm going to put a bit of a bevel on these. So I'm going to bring them to about there roughly. And I'm going to add a couple of segments. So there's 3 segments. Just kind of round it off a little bit. And then what I'm going to do, again, I'm going to select the top part here and I'm going to put another bevel on it. Just like so. Just so it gives it that kind of almost plinth sort of look. Now what I want to do is I'm going to come here. I'm just going to extrude that just a little bit. So it kind of comes in and then out and then in again. And then I'm going to shrink that down just a little. Kind of so it almost looks like it's coming in and then coming out. So I may need to just, no, I think that looked good as it was. So I'm liking that. I am going to get rid of the bottom face because we definitely don't need that. And I'm going to bring the statue down. Just so it rests just on top of that top plinth. So that's looking pretty good so far. So what I do now is I'm going to save that as 10. So that's fine. So we've got a nice statue here. I'm going to go ahead and join those two together. So now we've got one thing. And I'm going to rename that. So that's the Statue of Zenith. Get rid of the reference. I can move that over. I'm going to select that and I'm going to now put that into place. So this is going to come into the chapel. I'm going to put that just behind the altar where it needs to be. So it needs to be about there. I'm going to make it a little bit taller. Obviously it needs to be bigger in all directions, so I just want it just to come up to that window. And then I just want to make it central almost. So central to that window. And I'm going to centre that altar as well. Just so that the eye line as you're walking in to the chapel is you see the altar and the Statue of Zenith. Okay, and that's it for this video. In the next video, I'm going to make the stand-in braziers to go either side. So they're going to be similar to this, like the torches. But they're going to stand either side of the statue. I'm going to do some candles just for the altar. So just a couple of candles, probably on stands either side. And then I'm going to start texturing everything that's on the inside. So I'll do the braziers first. And then I will start going ahead and start texturing everything on the inside, including the beams. And obviously the doorway, the windows, things like that. Once that's done, once it's all textured, I'm going to do the roof last. But I will do the bell tower. So I think that's important. That needs to be done. So what I'm going to actually do in the next video, yeah, if I start the texturing, so if I do the texturing of all these little props, so I do that because that won't take too long. And then what I do in the video after that is probably do the actual bell tower. Yeah, that sounds about right. So I shall leave that now. So it's looking good, so it's coming along. So like I said, next video, texturing all the inner sort of props. And then possibly the bell tower. And that's it for now.